All right, I'm gonna make a little bowl here. I have a bat pad, and it makes it easy to replace the bats. I cut square bats just because it's easier and it's cheaper. You can get a lot more bats out of a sheet of masonite. You learn pretty quick to keep your pinkies up so you don't get hit by the corners. A little air bubble in this clay I can feel. This process of making the clay go up and down is called wheel wedging. Even though this is store-bought clay, it sometimes still has air pockets in it. Damn it! Come here, damn it. So I'm wheel wedging. I can't feel the air bubble anymore. Now I center. Just makes it spin true. Centering takes some concentration. And now I'm going to open it. So I again want it to spin true, the space that I'm creating. I concentrate on the center and keep myself very steady so that it doesn't push me around. Go down, thinking I'm leaving about 3/8 of an inch of a floor thickness. So I'll have room to trim a foot on this later. You can check that thickness by just sticking a needle in it, putting your finger there and pulling it out and seeing how much clay you have. You don't have to worry about the hole. You can just seal it up. That's no problem. All right, so I've got it open and it's pretty steady. I keep pushing in towards the center. It's called compressing the floor. When you open the clay, you can take the particles and just spread them out too much. And when it dries, it can create cracking. So you want to sort of put some backwards pressure on it to get those particles to line back up, seal back up. All right, now I'm going to pull the wall. This is going to be a small bowl. One just initial pull, set the lip, wet it inside and out. Do second pull. Very gentle. I actually have a tendency to pull pot too thin, which can make it very unstable. One last pull, pulling up and out because it's going to be a bowl. And I'm not pulling through the lip, if you can see that. I pulled it just under the lip. So the lip here is actually thicker than the wall below it, because I want it to be round and thick and useful rim. It'll take a lot more abuse in the kitchen if it has a strong rim. I'm going to get rid of the throwing lines on the outside. There's nothing wrong with them, it's just a matter of taste. That also takes some of the wet clay off of the outside. If you do throw thinly, you have to throw quickly. Otherwise, the water on the surface of the pot seeps into the wall and weakens the clay while you're working. If you take some of that wet clay off, it gives you a little more time to work with the clay. All right, I'm going in with the rib. I'm going to start by making contact at 3 o'clock on the top of the wall and push out. You can see there's a spot that's not connecting. So on the outside, I would just touch my finger against it. The key with the rib is to try to get as much of the rib in contact with the clay at once as possible. So in other words, you don't take the rib and go down like this on the wall. You take the rib and try to get it to fit the wall like that, so that the wall takes the shape of the rib. Otherwise, it's just a plastic finger. That's why potters use so many different shapes of ribs, is that you want to use it for its shape, not just for a surface to contact the clay with, but something that actually gives the pot some shape. Now you can see there's one spot in there, there's one rim right there where there's a little lighter line that's not been in contact as much as the rest of the wall. It's probably a little thinner there. This is just one ring. I'm going to go in, straighten this up, go in one last time, clean this up, and with a little pressure on the outside, I'm going to push that wall up against the rib right there. Still doesn't really want to go away, so I'm going to let it be. There's still a little bit of a thin spot there, but it doesn't want to cooperate, so you can't force it sometimes. If it wants to be that way, it's better to let it be that way. I often use the webbing of my fingers at the lip to make the lip. I give it some support with the other hand, but come in there. And then lastly, I often take a chamois. In this case, I use plastic for a chamois. There we go. Chamois, when they're real chamois and they're wet, you can't feel them in your bucket. Some potters put fishing floats on them, so you can find them. They feel exactly the same way as wet, sloppy clay when they're wet. So I like the plastic ones. They're cheap, they're easy to feel and find, and I can just drape it across the top of my bucket. Lastly, I'm going to cut away the excess clay at the base. Down here, the supporting clay I needed to make that curve in the bowl, I don't need any more, so I can cut it away. Saves me some trimming. And also, if I wasn't throwing on a bat and I needed to move this pot to pick it up, it gives you a place to get your fingers under the weight of the wall and pick it up. I dripped a little water in there. I don't really want to let that sit in there, so I just sponge that up. So again, if I had to pick it up, it's much easier to pick up because I cut that supporting clay away. But since I'm on a bat, I just pick up the whole bat.